Hello, my name is Morgan with Morgan on the Violin, and I'm here today to do a short review of the Mendini 500 plus 92D from Cecilio. For those of y'all who are just trying to make a quick decision, I would definitely not recommend purchasing this instrument. I purchased this instrument, it was about $190. It's actually gone down since then. Last I checked, it was $160 on Amazon. So most of these instruments these days are actually going up in price because of inflation, not down in price. So that right there is, I think, a pretty good indication of the value of this instrument. What I generally recommend is spending at least $240 on a beginner instrument, beginner outfit. $240 is going to get you something that's not going to have a lot of the problems that this instrument has. It's going to be a lot safer buy. Now, ideally, $300 to $350 is really the best price range if you're going to buy instead of rent. But $240 is kind of the safe minimum, not $190 or $160 especially. So what are some of the issues that came up with this instrument? Well, one thing is right off the bat, it didn't take too long before the fine tuner here on the E string broke. It's actually punctured through the lever underneath. And if that happens to you, if you buy this instrument and one of these fine tuners does that to you, you're going to have to replace the tailpiece. It can't really be fixed otherwise. And replacing the tailpiece is going to cost you about $30 plus the trip to the luthier to do so. Another issue, and this is a big problem we see on these really cheap instruments, it comes with two bridges actually. And the reason why it comes with two bridges is that both bridges are blanks. They haven't actually been carved to fit this instrument. And that does two things to the instrument. One, it kills the sound quality because the bridge isn't actually carved properly to allow the sound to get into the violin the way we want it to. But the really big one that's probably going to matter more to you early on is the playability. The strings on this violin are really high because the bridge wasn't carved down to match the correct string height relative to the fingerboard. And so that means that this instrument's going to be a lot harder for you or your child to play on. And this instrument's pretty hard to play on the violin. It's pretty hard to learn. We don't really want it to be harder to learn because the strings are resisting us. On that note, these strings are also really cheap strings. They're about $3 for a set of 4. Minimum you really want to spend is $10, typically $15 for a set of strings. If you get one of those violins that's in the 240 plus range, you're going to get strings typically that are actually of a higher quality. That has an impact, of course, on the sound quality, but the big thing you're going to notice is, again, the playability. Poor quality strings are actually harder to work with and harder to play on than good quality strings. So that $10 set of strings is going to be easier to work with. And what I notice when I'm playing this instrument is that even though I have calluses on my fingers, it still actually hurts to press the E string down because it feels like it's cutting into my finger while I'm pressing on it. It's kind of like if you have one of those wire cutters for cheese and you're pressing on that little wire really hard with your finger. It's the same sort of experience. So playability is going to be a poor experience on this instrument. The sound quality is also pretty poor because of the low quality strings, the cheap bridge that hasn't been carved, as well as it's generally a cheap instrument. Some other issues I had with the violin in particular, when I first purchased this instrument, I had to let it sit out for a couple of days and air out because it smelled really strongly of varnish and glue. So strongly that I could handle it for like 5 minutes and then I'd start to get a headache. So if you do decide to buy one of these, you probably want to plan on having a couple of days where it can just sit in an open air place and off gas. So you're buying an outfit, not just the violin. The outfit as a whole also has a lot of issues with it. For example, the shoulder rest that comes with the outfit, you see a picture here, is very small. It only covers a small portion of your shoulder. We really want a shoulder rest to go above the collarbone and down onto the pectoralis muscle. The shoulder rest doesn't do that. Instead, it kind of digs and presses in here, and it's really uncomfortable for me when I'm using it. So it's really cheaply made. It's not going to last very long. So to replace the shoulder rest, that's another $10 to $25, depending on the quality you go for. The bows, it comes with 2 bows. This is another red flag in these outfits. If it ever comes with 2 bows, you should probably stay away from that outfit. The 2 bows are both pretty poorly made, especially the bow hair is poorly done. It doesn't have enough bow hair on it, and it seems to be a pretty cheap quality bow hair. You'll want to replace the bow for around $35 at a minimum if you do decide to buy this outfit. So that's another thing to be aware of if you decide to buy this. I mean, they kind of work. They'll maybe be okay for just the initial getting your bow straight, but it's not really going to be a good bow long term for you. Neither of them. It also comes with a tuner metronome. That's the 92D in the name. This is the 92D. This thing broke on me after about a month. It'll turn on, but when I start pushing buttons, it'll glitch out and it'll stop working pretty quickly. So this is basically a waste of money. They put it in the outfit to help sell the outfit, but it doesn't actually do anything for you. You'll have to replace it. From Shar, Shar is one of the only other companies I know of that actually includes a tuner metronome, and their tuner metronome is like $15 in their outfits, so that would be the replacement cost for you to match that in an outfit. The rosin that comes with this outfit is also pretty cheap quality. You probably want to replace that with something that's a little bit nicer, a little bit easier to use. It's really hard rosin. It's really a light rosin. It's not going to work as well. And again, the rosins that come in your other outfits that other companies sell for $240 or more tend to be serviceable rosins for a brand new beginner. All that said, there is one thing that this violin is actually good for. It's a really pretty instrument. If you are looking for a wall decoration, this makes a really great wall piece. I'm not joking. This actually is a pretty instrument. So if you do need a decorative instrument that's not an actual instrument, this is not a bad buy. This is a pretty good way to go. It will at least meet that. All right, so again, $240 is the recommended amount to spend if you're trying to go bottom dollar. $300 to $350 is best. Instruments in that bottom dollar price range, you got the Shar Amadeus, you've got the bottled pupil, which you can buy off of Amazon. You have DZ Strad 101, which you can also buy off of Amazon. Fiddlershop Tower Instruments, one of those, I think it's the Entertainer, it's $250. Gliga violins, any one of those brands is a safe, reliable instrument to purchase for $250, $240, $250. And it won't hurt your hands, you'll get better quality equipment, you won't have to replace things. On this particular instrument with the Mendini 500, you'd be looking at spending around $125, maybe a little more, in order to get that instrument up to being comparable to, for example, the Shar Amadeus violin outfits. And at that point, I mean, you might as well just go buy the Shar Amadeus. You spent pretty much the same amount of money, and you didn't have to do as much work, right? If you purchase this instrument, you want to leave a comment about your experience with it, let me know. Be interested to hear what your take on it was. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Hit like, let other people know this video had value and is worth them watching. Hit subscribe, lets me know that you got value of this video. It's worth me continuing to make videos like this. All right, thank you very much.